this picture could potentially shake up the politics of the UK. Well, Nigel Farage was seen with Elon Musk, and this after a brief meeting at Mar-a-Lago. Now, many say that, well, if Musk indeed donates over $100 million to his party Reform UK, this could be the largest single party donation in British history, and perhaps also something to look at globally as well. Is Elon Musk really emerging as a new global political force? Before I bring in my guests, take a look at this report.
Is the only reason we can now send American astronauts.
Elon Musk, the world's richest man at the moment, has skyrocketed as a political force. Enabled by his great wealth, his level of influence in US politics continues to rise. In the recently concluded US presidential elections, his contribution to Donald Trump's victory was hard to miss. Consider this. According to campaign finance records, Musk spent more than $250 million to back Trump and other Republican candidates. It makes Musk the largest donor in the 2024 election cycle to either party. Soon after his big win, Trump announced that Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy will lead the newly created Department of Government Efficiency in a bid to reduce wasteful federal spending. This further solidified Musk's political influence. Now, Musk seems to have turned his attention to British politics. In a photo that sent shockwaves through the United Kingdom, the billionaire was pictured at Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida with British politician Nigel Farage. Farage has claimed talks are underway about Musk making a big donation to his Reform UK party. According to reports, it could be as much as $100 million, which would make it the largest political donation in UK history. The reports have sparked calls for Britain's rules on political donations to be tightened. Under the current UK law, donations to parties worth more than £500 should come from donors registered in the United Kingdom. It includes voters on the electoral roll and companies registered in Britain. This could allow Musk to donate through the UK arm of social media platform X. However, the election watchdog has reportedly said that donations should be proportional to the size of UK company profits. X's UK arm showed pre-tax profit of £8.5 million in 2022, which makes the aforementioned donation amount quite extravagant. Amid speculation, Musk could start bankrolling Farage's Reform UK. Britain's election watchdog has urged the government to take a tougher stance on donations to political parties. The objective is to reduce the likelihood of foreign interference in British politics. The government has committed to reviewing the rules on political donations in the United Kingdom. Farage is a popular but polarizing figure in UK politics. A veteran political disruptor, he promised to change politics forever after his anti-immigration party won more than 4 million votes in the latest general elections, propelling him into Parliament for the first time. The party grabbed 5 seats in the House of Commons with a 14.3% share of the vote. Now, he seems to have found a behemoth of a supporter in Musk, and the Tesla CEO appears prepared to go the distance with Farage. Musk's father had suggested the SpaceX mogul might even be prepared to become a UK citizen to make that $100 million donation. Musk has already stamped his authority with Trump's election win. How his UK political sojourn unfolds remains to be seen, but it is already being closely watched and observed across the Atlantic. With Vishal Vivek, Bureau Report, NDTV World.
And joining me on the show this evening, I'm being joined by Nicholas Nugent, British journalist, former BBC editor. Naresh Kaushik, senior journalist from the UK, is also with us. Mr. Nugent, to you first. How do you see this picture? It certainly sent shockwaves across political circles in the UK. Elon Musk, of course, takes keen interest in the politics of the UK. He has constantly retweeted Farage's posts on his social media platform as well. Do you see this as potentially shaking up the politics of the UK if this deal indeed goes through?
Well, you're talking about a deal. It's speculation at the moment,
Yes.
especially the size of the possible donation. And I think there are a lot of caveats to the story, the scenario you portray. I mean, true, if he were to find a way to donate that size of money, it would begin to shake up British politics. But I think the more relevant thing is that the Reform Party already gained 5 seats in the last election. In
Yes.
other words, they've gathered a lot of momentum, and they took seats away from the Conservative Party in particular and have their best ever win. But ultimately, large sums of money don't necessarily buy votes. Let's forget that. It's people who vote, and it's the attitude of British people. So the party would be stronger and would have a stronger campaign next time round if it were to get such a donation. But ultimately, it's what the British people want. And so far, I think the data that you've outlined indicates that Reform remains a very small party in the British political context. It would have a long way to go to win the sort of popular approval that you're suggesting. And I don't think that'll come just through a large donation.
Absolutely. I think that's a very important point to make, that electorally, perhaps many would say that it's almost an insignificant party, though, as you said, it's been gaining momentum, 5 seats and 14% votes. So I think that's also interesting there. But Mr. Kaushik, weigh in on this. How do you see the optics of, Farage with Elon Musk?
Yeah, until a few months ago, we didn't take Nigel Farage very seriously.
Yes.
He had been trying to enter parliament, but he couldn't succeed. He couldn't win his own seat. But this time round, he won not only 5 seats, but got 14% of the votes, which is quite a big percentage. But on another point, which went in his favor, is a victory of Donald Trump, which he has been a supporter for many years. Actually, before the British elections, he announced that he will not fight an election, but he'll go to United States to campaign for Donald Trump. But he changed his mind at the last minute because he thought his party is gaining some momentum, and if he leads the campaign, it will help, and it certainly did. So now he has the new leader of, as we call in the West, leader of the free world, President of the United States, is his friend, long-standing friend. And he has obviously ear to the next president of the United States. So he has become certainly much more powerful. As I said, few months ago, no one took him that seriously, but now he's a force to reckon with. And if he does succeed in getting this money from Musk, and Musk has been a supporter of right-wing parties around the world, and only a few days ago, actually only yesterday, he said he will support AfD, which is the far-right party in Germany. So he has been a friend of Nigel Farage, and through Trump they share a bond.
Yes.
So if he does support in donation Nigel Farage and his Reform Party can certainly move ahead. And in the last few weeks, the party has gained even more.
And perhaps that's what Mr. Nugent was also saying. But Mr. Nugent, also the larger issue of political donations, I think that's also something that we must discuss. There have been recently calls for stricter laws when it comes to political donations. Of course, Keir Starmer has also talked about it. Currently, there is no legal framework. But how do you see that debate going forward now?
Well, you see, if
Mr. Kaushik, I'll come back to you. Mr. Nugent, go ahead. I'll come back to Mr. Kaushik. Mr. Nugent.
Well, can I just correct you? You say currently there's no legal framework. There is indeed legal framework. The question is whether it needs to be tightened.
Yes.
Foreigners and foreign companies cannot donate significant sums to the British political parties. And there's a lot of openness about where donations come from. So what you're referring to is a suggestion that it should be tightened, especially if Elon Musk uses his international company X to appear to be making the donation from within Britain. If I might say so, I think there are one or two more interesting aspects to this. There's a nice piece in the British newspaper The Times today arguing that the reform, which came to power, or not came to power, but elected its members and gained popularity on an anti-immigration platform, is now rivaling the ruling Labour Party, for example, wanting to nationalise two key companies, Thames Water and our steelworks in Scunthorpe. Now, this is very interesting. If reform is arguably moving to the left, it's traditionally regarded as a party of the right, but could it be challenging the Labour Party rather more than the Conservative Party next time round? And the other thing I'd like to say, if you're looking at British politics overall, is the interesting appointment today of Lord Mendelssohn, a Labour Party bigwig, to be the next British ambassador to America. You may remember Donald Trump was suggesting that Nigel Farage would make a very good ambassador for Britain. So the ruling party have decided that they want a politician as their representative in Washington to talk to Mr. Trump rather than a populist like Mr. Nigel Farage. Not that he ever had any hope of becoming the ambassador to America. But it's, there's a lot of power play going on, not least in Britain, in the weeks leading up to the arrival of Mr. Trump as the new American president.
Absolutely, an interesting political conundrum there. And as you mentioned, of course, there are already laws, including, of course, the Elections and Referendums Act. There are controls on political donations, but of course, calls for stricter laws there. Thanks very much, gentlemen, for being with us on the 10 o'clock news. Pretty interesting there, that picture of Elon Musk with Nigel Farage. Well, that's all the time that we have on the show. Thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.